The sounds echoed through the courtroom like a gunshot, one sharp smack against Judge Judy's bench. And suddenly, the entire room froze. The bailiff stopped moving. The audience gasped. And Judge Judy? She didn't blink. Because standing just feet away from her was a woman so consumed by rage, so blinded by arrogance, that she had just made the worst mistake of her life on national television. 30 seconds later, she'd be crying in handcuffs while millions of people watched her world collapse in real time. But here's the thing, that slap wasn't where the story started. It started long before the cameras rolled, long before the screaming, long before the humiliation, because this wasn't just another courtroom meltdown. This was the moment entitlement collided headfirst with consequences. And trust me, the ending nobody expected would shock the entire internet. But before we dive in, if you love courtroom drama, justice-served moments, and watching liars completely unravel under pressure, hit that like button and subscribe right now, because this case is absolutely insane. Now, let's rewind the clock. Back to the moment Karen Foster walked into Judge Judy's courtroom believing she was about to humiliate someone else, without realizing she was about to destroy herself instead. It looked like an ordinary taping day in Los Angeles. Cameras ready. Audience seated. The familiar courtroom buzz humming through the studio. Nobody had any idea they were about to witness one of the most explosive moments in Judge Judy history. The case itself sounded simple. Karen Foster versus Monica Diaz. A dispute over a damaged car door and a $1, $200 repair bill, routine, forgettable, at least on paper. But Judge Judy knew something was off almost immediately, because buried inside Karen's filing wasn't just evidence. It was a 3-page rant, insults, personal attacks, conspiracy accusations, complaints about traffic laws, police officers, and basically anyone who had ever dared disagree with her. And right there, Judge Judy spotted the real problem. This case was never about the car. It was about ego. Karen Foster was the kind of person who didn't just want compensation. She wanted domination, humiliation, control. She wanted someone punished. And unfortunately for everyone in that courtroom, Karen wasn't emotionally prepared for what happens when somebody finally tells her no. The moment she entered the courtroom, you could feel it, the oversized designer bag, the perfectly styled platinum hair, the smug smile, the energy of somebody who genuinely believed rules applied to everyone except her. Meanwhile, sitting quietly across from her was Monica Diaz, an EMT, still wearing her work uniform after a brutal overnight shift, exhausted, calm, composed, the exact opposite of Karen. Monica had already admitted she accidentally scraped Karen's Lexus while backing out of their shared driveway. She'd apologized immediately, offered to pay for repairs immediately, even got estimates herself. But Karen refused the money because for people like Karen, an apology is never enough. They don't want solutions. They want emotional victory. And the second Judge Judy began questioning her, the cracks started showing instantly. Karen didn't answer with facts. She answered with attitude. "Your Honor," she said dramatically, "this woman completely destroyed my brand new Lexus." Destroyed, not scratched, not dented. Then came the line that told the entire courtroom exactly who Karen was. "It's not about the money," she said. "It's about respect." That's when Judge Judy raised an eyebrow. A tiny movement, but longtime viewers knew exactly what it meant. Warning number one, Karen missed it completely. She kept talking, a little louder, more dramatic, blaming the police, blaming Monica, blaming the system. At one point, she even implied Monica got special treatment because she worked as an EMT. The audience immediately shifted. People started looking at each other, because now this wasn't about a damaged car anymore. It was becoming personal. Judge Judy cut in sharply. "Miss Foster, stick to the facts." But Karen couldn't stop. And then came the interruption, the eye rolls, the sarcastic tone, the fake smiles, every single thing Judge Judy absolutely cannot stand. Still, Judge Judy gave her chance after chance. Meanwhile, Monica stayed calm, respectful, measured. And honestly, that contrast made Karen look even worse. Monica quietly explained she'd offered the full repair amount immediately after the accident. She showed text messages, insurance paperwork, professional estimates. Everything organized, everything factual. Then came the bombshell. She taped a note to my door calling me a criminal. Monica revealed quietly. The audience gasped. Karen muttered under her breath. Judge Judy caught it instantly. Another warning, another chance. But Karen was too busy losing control to realize what was happening, because this entire time, Judge Judy was watching her carefully, studying her. And then Judge Judy asked the question that completely shattered Karen's case. If she offered you the exact repair amount, Judy asked calmly, why are we here? Karen paused. And then she made the biggest mistake so far. Because she damaged my reputation. The courtroom nearly burst into laughter. Karen thought people were supporting her. They weren't. They were stunned. She started talking about emotional distress, embarrassment, how people stared at her scratched Lexus during business meetings, and that's when Judge Judy delivered the line that started Karen's complete psychological collapse. You're suing over emotional trauma from a scratched car door? The audience laughed harder. Karen's face changed immediately. That smug confidence? Gone. Because for the first time in her life, people weren't taking her seriously, and entitled people absolutely cannot handle public embarrassment. That's when everything changed. Judge Judy discovered Karen hadn't even paid for the repairs yet. No receipts, no invoices, no proof, just screenshots and emotional outrage. You're suing for money you haven't spent? Judge Judy asked flatly. Karen stumbled over her words. The audience murmured again. And now, Karen was spiraling fast. You could physically see it happening, the heavier breathing, the trembling hands, the cracking voice. That dangerous moment when embarrassment mutates into rage. And then Karen completely snapped. She started attacking Monica personally, calling her manipulative, accusing her of pretending to be innocent because she wore a uniform. Then came the eye roll, the fatal eye roll. Every Judge Judy fan knows that never ends well. But Karen still wasn't done. She pointed directly at Monica and said something that made the entire courtroom gasp. You people always side with people like her. Silence, pure silence. Judge Judy slowly looked up. You people? She repeated coldly. Karen immediately tried backtracking. Too late. Judge Judy had already seen enough, and then Karen made the single worst verbal mistake possible. You're just some TV personality pretending to be a real judge. The entire courtroom froze. Even the bailiff shifted position because everybody knew Karen had officially crossed the line. Judge Judy became terrifyingly calm, not angry, not loud calm, which somehow felt much worse. Then came the takedown. I've been a licensed attorney since 1965, Judge Judy said quietly. I served over 2 decades on the bench before television. Every word hit Karen like a hammer. You are embarrassing yourself. Karen shrank visibly, but pride wouldn't let her stop. That's the thing about arrogance, even when it's drowning. Still thinks it can swim. Judge Judy gave her one final warning, one final opportunity to regain composure. You can either act like a plaintiff, she said coldly, or like a problem. And Karen chose chaos, her face twisted with rage. You're nothing but a bully in a robe. She snapped. Then came the sentence nobody in that courtroom would ever forget. You don't scare me. And then happened. Karen lunged forward. Her hand slammed violently against Judge Judy's bench crack. The sound exploded through the courtroom. Papers flew into the air. The audience screamed. The bailiff moved instantly. Within seconds, Karen was restrained. Suddenly, the woman who walked in demanding respect was screaming in panic. I didn't touch her. But Judge Judy slowly stood up, and when she spoke, entire room went dead silent. You raised your hand in my courtroom, she said coldly. You struck this bench. Karen's bravado disappeared instantly. Now she looked terrified. The deputies entered. Handcuffs appeared. And just like that, woman who thought she controlled the room completely lost control of her own life. But the real twist, that was only the beginning. Because once the footage hit the internet, Karen Foster became a national headline overnight. The clip exploded everywhere. TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, Doosu stations, Sue's replayed the moment frame by frame. Karen attacks Judge Judy. Most explosive courtroom moment ever. Arrogance meets consequences. Millions of people watched Karen unravel in real time. But inside the courtroom, Judge Judy delivered one final speech that changed everything. Courtrooms are places of order, she said calmly. When someone raises a hand in anger, they're not just disrespecting a person. They're disrespecting justice itself. That line went viral instantly, and while the internet laughed, Karen's real nightmare was beginning because prosecutors reviewed the footage. And suddenly this wasn't television anymore, it was criminal court. Karen was charged with assault-related offenses, contempt, and disorderly conduct. And for the first time, there were no cameras to perform for. No audience, no social media mask, just consequences. When Karen appeared in court days later, she looked completely different, defeated, ashamed, exhausted. She admitted she lost control. She admitted her ego took over, and the judge sentenced her to jail time, anger management, community service, and fines. The internet celebrated justice served, case closed, or at least that's what everyone thought. Because then something unexpected happened. 3 weeks later, Judge Judy received a handwritten letter from Karen, the woman the entire world mocked, was finally taking accountability. The letter was heartbreaking. Karen admitted she'd spent days replaying the moment in her head. She admitted Judge Judy didn't ruin her life. She ruined it herself. And then came the line nobody expected. "You didn't destroy me," she wrote. You held up a mirror. Judge Judy read every word carefully. Then she responded with only 4 words, accountability accepted, keep growing. And somehow that changed everything. Karen completed anger management, finished community service, started speaking publicly about accountability and emotional control. The woman once known as a courtroom monster slowly became something else. Human. Months later, she stood in front of a packed auditorium speaking about respect, ego, and consequences. And sitting quietly in the back row was Judge Judy herself. No cameras, no headlines, no drama. Just 2 women sharing a moment neither of them ever expected to reach. Karen finally understood something millions of viewers learned from that courtroom too. Justice isn't always about punishment. Sometimes it's about interruption. Interrupting the worst version of yourself before it destroys everything. And honestly, that may have been the most powerful verdict Judge Judy ever delivered. Because the woman who once slammed her hand in rage against a courtroom bench eventually learned how to lower it with humility. And maybe that's the real lesson here. Pride can destroy your life in seconds. But accountability can rebuild it. So what do you think? Was Karen truly sorry, or was she only sorry after facing consequences? Comment below, because I really want to hear your thoughts. And if you enjoyed this courtroom story, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because we've got more unbelievable Judge Judy drama coming next. And trust me, next case is even crazier.